everyone, welcome to the Beginnings Quilt Along block number 3, the Friendship Star. The pattern has all of the directions you need for cutting your pieces. And we're going to put this together just like the pinwheel and the 9 patch. That's the reason I started with those 2 blocks to begin with. You're going to sew your half square triangles just like you did with your pinwheels, where you sew a 1/4 inch down the side of each of your markings and then cut them apart. And then you're going to square them up to 2.5 inches. And then you'll put them together like this. So lay out your 9 patches of your friendship star so that your triangles are facing in the directions that you see here. There is a picture, of course, in your directions, so you don't need to worry about pausing this to look at the picture here. You can see them in your directions. I'm doing the videos just for things that are really hard to explain in pictures. So here it is, all laid out like a 9 patch. And I've gone ahead and sewn the 3 rows of each of these 2 blocks. Now you're going to make 2 blocks of the friendship stars. I've already sewn the 3 rows of each of the 2 blocks together because those are just sewn just like you did with the 9 patch, just matching up your edges and sewing them. You don't need to worry about the points at this point. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'll show you here in a second how they look with the 3 rows sewn together. And then what you'll do is press them the way we did with the 9 patches. The top one, the top row out, the bottom row out, and the center row you're going to press the seams in toward the center. Then you'll match your seams up just like we did with the 9 patch and lock your seams so that they match up nice and straight. And then you'll put a pin in each side of where the seam is. And so that's what I'm doing here, putting the pins in each side. And also I'm showing you here that that's where you want to sew, right where those 2 seams come together. You're going to sew a seam there. So that's how we're going to make our points perfect for our friendship star. Put a pin in the end so that it doesn't shift. And then get started. And I'm sorry, I was off camera there a little bit, but I think I get back on camera here pretty quick. So I'm not doing a video of absolutely everything. I'm just doing anything that's new or something that I think you might want to be reminded about. In this case, it's how to keep your points perfect. So on this, you'll be able to see the point on one seam, but not the other one. The other point will be underneath. But if you're sewing a perfect 1/4 inch seam, you're going to do pretty good about getting that right over where the point is. See, I didn't even look at the top one and it's still perfect. So that's great. So that's the first block sewn, and now we're going to work on the second block. I did the video at double speed, so instead of 10 minutes of you watching me do this, it's 5 minutes. I didn't think you wanted to watch me do this for 10 minutes, but I think you can see everything that you need to see in this video anyway. So I'm pinning on each side of the seam. And then when I'm sewing really slow and making sure that I take my time to sew a 1/4 inch seam, especially over where the seams come together, because that's where you're going to worry about your points. And if you're sewing a perfect 1/4 inch seam, you're going to have more perfect points. So what you do once you sew this and you look at where the seam is, if the seam is not perfectly over the point of where those other 2 seams came together, then you know you need to, if it's too far, you need to rip it and re-sew it. If it's not far enough, you don't need to rip it. You just can sew an extra little bit on there to make sure that it fits right along that little where the point is. And excuse my dog barking. It seems to be a little busy around here today, and she wants to bark. And the phone's ringing, so if the phone rings, well, I'll have to apologize for that as well. So sorry about that. Anyway, so I'm going ahead and finishing this up, and this is what the blocks look like once they're done with their perfect little points. And what about that fabric? Isn't it just the cutest? Anyway, I'll see you on the blog. Thanks so much.